See where he ends up.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding, right?
Howdy.
So, how was Burbank?
No, it was green. I spent most of it writing my AP ranking story. It wasn't too bad.
You weren't on the non-stop?
Nope. No, I left at 8:40 a.m. and got home at 2:30.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So yeah, we probably left around the same time, except you got home.
9:30.
Yeah.
And my story, because they called me up and had fake puns.
Nah, man. What a crime.
But I was.
It's okay.
Actually, I didn't do myself a ton of time.
Yeah. And that's what you said. It's just
Give you a thumbs up or whatever, but
What's that?
just do it like
Yeah, self back and
as
off.
soon as he starts walking down. Like you don't have he doesn't have to be behind it when you hit it.
Are you on direct flights this week?
To Colorado, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going driving up to.
Same, yeah.
So, I don't know how direct I can call it.
Worst driving, not much.
posted 58 in the championship game.
Couple house. Tyler, let me know when you're good. Good to go? All right,
You guys ready to rock? Well, happy Monday, guys. As always, great to see you. Thank you, Jesus, for another day of life. Thank you, Jesus, for the victory, man. Proud of our guys continuing to stay in the fight and keep getting better, man. Proud of our team. And obviously it was not perfect on Saturday. I mean, we're down 14-0. We dropped the kickoff. They're going down on the 2 or 3 yard line to make it 21-0. Obviously, I don't think you can find a way to start a game maybe worse than we did. Missed a fake field goal, a bunch of different stuff that either self-inflicted negatives, we call them sins, or things they did to attack us. We didn't start fast, but I mean being able to go from that starting point to end the game on a 42-7 run is a testament to these kids, and I'm proud of them. Proud of how they responded. It was a big point of emphasis going into last week was just our response. It's always next play. You're up big, it's still the next play. Something bad happens, it's still the next play. Like football is all about how you respond. And even thinking about after the game, I mean, like it says in the Bible, do not have a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and a sound mind. And keeping that mentality throughout a game is hard. And I saw it on our team. Like they never flinched. And even when things did not go well, I mean, even the second half, I mean, we started out defensively and they drive, I think, 97 yards for a touchdown. So it's not like it was all rainbows and butterflies after a certain point. That's a really good football team we played. I mean, Coach Niamatolo's done a great job in all 3 phases, so we knew we were going to be attacked. And but I'm so proud of our guys responding and staying in the fight. They kept swinging. They made the plays they should make, and we stayed on the hunt. And I think our guys deserve all the credit, and it's a testament to how they work. I think Maddox Madsen played one of his, if not his best game all season. And especially coming off a game where he was inconsistent against Nevada. I mean, he played extremely well on Saturday. We were able to get the ball to 10 different receivers. Latrell Cables had big-time catches in the game. Cam Camper. Chase Penry had a third-down catch. Austin Bolt, big-time third-down catch. Matt Lauder, touchdown. Matt Wagner, I mean, I can keep going down the line, being able to find the ways to get our playmakers the ball, and he did that. Ashton Genty, continues to be the best football player in the country. And testament to our O-line, Coach Keene, Coach Potter, I mean, finding ways, rotating guys, moving guys around, and staying consistent in the run game and the pass game, even with injuries on our O-line, is a testament to our guys, testament to leadership in that group. And this is week 12 or 13 of the season, played 10 games, I mean, everybody's banged up. Our fronts are banged up just like everybody we play, and our guys stepping up and doing what we need to do to win games is a testament to those guys. Defensively, going in the game, we knew how we were going to be attacked. We knew they had the best receiver in the country. And I went and found Nick Nash after the game. I mean, that young man is phenomenal. I mean, I knew that going in, but seeing how he competed, some of the catches he made was big time. Number 11 Lockhart had some big time catches against it. We give up a bunch of yards passing. There's a lot of things that we need to fix and clean up. A lot of it due to techniques, and we got to make plays. I mean, we're in position a lot of times that we didn't finish, but proud of our guys staying in the fight. And it's not always going to be perfect. You got to find ways to stay in the fight, keep swinging. We gave up some third downs that we can't. We did, but we stayed in the fight. We were able to create 4 turnovers the first time this season, which is a monster stat in this game. And proud of our guys. I mean, even playing out of position. Amari McCoy played out of position. We put a lot on his plate. He had 11 tackles. Had some things that he did really well in that game. Ty Benefield started a little bit slow. Had one of his better games too. Only to name a few. And so just proud of our guys continue to hunt and play. And even with, Alexander Tubner out, Andrew Simpson out, guys stepped up. Shea Oladipo played a really good football game. Marco Notarini played the entire game on 2 special teams, played the whole game on defense, an absolute warrior. And Marco played well in the game. So guys stepped up. It's carry the flag. Next man up. It's, game 10. And proud of our guys doing that. Special teams-wise, obviously had the fumble on kickoff return. Can't happen. I mean, it's a huge play in the game. We got to play with way better ball security. Yes, he was hit a little bit. The ball dang near just falls out. Cannot happen. But I'm proud of our guys responding from that. We missed the fake field goal. I called it and would do it again. Wouldn't do it if I knew it wouldn't work. Let me be the first to say that. But we want to be on the attack in all 3 phases. And we're going to continue to find ways to fake on field goal and punt. We have to. We got to keep people off balance. But we were able to do some better things in our coverage units. We only punted the ball, I think, 1 time, and it was a good punt by James. We covered it well. Kickoff, we had a couple explosives by us, tackling it inside the 20, and then we gave up a big one that we misfit. So there's some inconsistencies we got to work on there too. So in all 3 phases, man, testament to our players and our coaches. They never flinched. We got to start better than we did. I'm not a rocket science to say that, but I'm proud of our guys finishing the game, staying in the fight, and that was and I told our leadership, I met with our leadership prior to media, that's one of the best sidelines that we've had all season. I mean, never flinched, stayed in it, encouraging each other, even when things are not going our way, stayed in it, and we're going to be able to rely on that. I mean, this is a battle-tested team, and I know that. I've seen that. I'm proud of them for it and excited to continue to learn and grow.
The turnovers, particularly interceptions. I mean, earlier in the year, they weren't coming, and just how happy are you with the way they've come along as the season's gone on?
I mean, it's championship football, and turnover margin is a huge part out of that. I mean, those turnovers are one of the main reasons we win that football game, and we're getting them now. And now we got to stay on it. We're practicing them. We're practicing it better. Now we got to continue. We're getting them in games. Now we're going to need those every single game we play in. And so I'm excited about where we're heading in regards to creating takeaways, and we're protecting the football on offense, which is a huge part.
Special teams, I mean, you guys stretched the budget to go get Stacey Collins and made the largest commitment ever for a non-coordinator here.
Yep.
And obviously the results haven't really equaled probably what you thought they would to this point. I know it's a lot more than just Stacey Collins. What is going into some of the struggles? Because for decades around here, that's been a strength of this team.
Yeah, no doubt, BJ. I mean, and let me first off by saying, I mean, it's not my opinion. I believe Coach Collins is one of the best special teams coordinators in the country. I believe that when we hired him, and I believe that now through 10 games. We have played very inconsistent on special teams. And it's not to the standard. It's not just me saying that. I know Coach Collins would say that as well. We gotta find guys in all 4 of our units. They got to make the plays they should make. If you're a 2 on kickoff and we need you to spill the first thing that comes to you, we need to spill. That's on us as coaches though too. Me, Coach Collins. It's not on the young men. We got to find guys that can get it done, and we've been very inconsistent. I'm not trying to run from it either, BJ. Like we have to be better because how we've played on special teams will lose us football games if we don't get it fixed. But I'm unwavering in how much I believe in Coach Collins, our special teams unit, our players, our specialists. We've got more than enough in regards to specialists. We need to kick the ball better. There's some times in the game where we wanted to kick it left, and we didn't kick it that way. So I got to work to get it fixed. Just because you win the game, we don't ever leave a game like, oh, it's great, we won the game. No, there's a lot of stuff on that tape that, BJ, we got to get fixed. And in all 3 phases, but especially on special teams, we got to be more consistent, and we can't lose the field position battle like we have, and we for sure cannot give the ball away like we did.
The answer was in that answer there, but I don't know if I've ever seen you guys use, while everybody's healthy, I don't know if I've ever seen you guys use 3 different guys on kickoff as the kicker.
Yeah.
What kind of, what's the thought process there?
Yeah, Jay, I mean, we've had consistent issues kicking the ball where we need to on kickoff. And kicking it not only to create touchbacks was obviously the goal, but even in regards to location. And we are, every week in practice is a competition. Even during a game, if it's not what it should be, we're going to make moves. Because everything here at Boise State is earned, and if we can't get that done consistently from kick location, we're going to make changes. And that's just the reality where it is. We got to, and I tell our staff, we have more than enough. I believe in our specialists. I know we have more than enough. We got to find guys that consistently kick the ball where it needs to and create more touchbacks than we have. Hasn't been consistent enough. And even in regards to punt-wise, I believe in James, and James is a big-time punter. We got to get some of the hang time and some of the location better there too. So there's a lot of things we got to grow in. Jonah's got to make that field goal. That's who he is. I believe in him, and games on the line, we're putting Jonah Dalmas out there to kick it. Needs to make those kicks, and there's no one more excited to make sure he does than himself. That's what you love about Jonah. He's a huge leader on our team. But in all parts of our special teams, we got to be better. Starting with me, starting in how we coach it, guys on all those units from the specialists to guys that are covering or guys that are blocking, because it's been way too inconsistent, and you lose football games in November, December if we don't play better on special teams.
So you're saying, like, for example, Spencer, on a kickoff, the ball's supposed to go left, so the coverage is going left, but when the ball goes right and the coverage is going left, all of a sudden that gives up a big splash play. It's as simple as that.
It's pretty much as simple as that, Johnny. Now, we also got 11 guys that got to have some awareness on where the return's going and make plays. And on one of the big returns on Saturday, missed him 3 times in regards to a tackle. No, he made a big-time tackle on the sideline, or else that thing had a shot to go the distance. So we got to be better. We got to be better. Once again, I do not put that on our players. That's on us as coaches. That's on me, first and foremost, as the head coach, and on Stacey Collins as the special teams coordinator. But we got to get it fixed.
With all that being said, Dylan, you replaced your kickoff return guy, and Dylan had a big return in the second half. And then maybe the first kickoff of the second half too. Was that by design or luck of the bounce, or what happened with that one?
The ball rolls in weird ways sometimes, Jay. I would love to sit up here and say that we planned that. We did not. And I'm glad that it bounced out the 2-yard line. I'll leave it at that. But Dylan Riley, not only his big-time kickoff return, and especially recovering from, a week prior, we dropped one. And him coming out, trusting him, he catches it, explosive return all the way out to the 38. And if he breaks that one tackle, he might be gone. But what someone maybe doesn't see is he played his tail off on kickoff too. He was the first one down. That young man can fly. And playing running back, he had a big-time tackle inside the 20 on kickoff, an explosive play for our kickoff unit. So very proud of Dylan Riley. He's going to be not only a really good running back for us in the future, he's going to be a big-time player on special teams.
Would you prefer just a touchback every time?
Every time, BJ.
Okay.
I want it every single time if we can get it done. We haven't been able to get it done. And we got to find ways, and no one's going to feel sorry for us, and that's just the reality of what we got. And so we're going to find ways every week to kick it out of the end zone. If we can't, we got to be intentional to make sure we can cover these kicks down.
Dumb question. Is that just finding someone with a strong enough leg to kick it that deep, or is there wind? Is there other stuff involved? Or?
Absolutely. And I promise you we will work to get that fixed.
What was Marco Notriani's week last week, preparing for this game? And it's not like he went from 0 to 100, but it was probably like 55 to 100.
Yeah.
Wearing the green dot, playing every single snap.
Yep.
What was his week like last week?
Guys, Marco is an absolute warrior. And one of the top leaders on our team. I've been very open with you guys about how he preps and how he gets himself ready to play a game. If that means he's going to play 5 snaps or 70, he's going to prep the same way. Because that's just who he is, Jay. That's who he is as a competitor. That's how much he cares about his team and the standard he holds himself to. No one's shocked that he's also, one of the best students on our team too, because how he does one thing is how he does everything. And he went into that game, and we knew going in, if Drew wasn't able to play, which was a game-time decision, and he wasn't, that Marco be ready to play every snap, and he never flinched. He started on punt, started on kickoff, was backing up in multiple other special teams, played whatever the total number of snaps on defense, and was relentless. There wasn't one snap on defense that you watch, you're like, Marco's getting tired here. Not one. He's relentless. That's how he preps. That's how he gets his body ready. And Marco's an absolute warrior.
Said, I don't know how long Drew will be out for, but how much do you need Clay and Jake to really step up and be ready?
Yeah, it's that point in the season. Everybody needs to be ready to step up. And it's next man up, carry the flag. And so hopefully Drew will be ready to roll this week. I know he's excited to hopefully be back, but everybody's got to be ready. It could be before the game. Stuff happens in game too. We play a violent game, and it's next man up.
Next man up, but when you were out with Tubner and you're without Simpson, 2 of the better defensive players in the league. Just how big of a deal was that to try to play without those 2 guys?
Yeah, BJ, it's huge. And it's something every year going into a season, from spring ball to fall camp to recruiting, you're trying to build, obviously get your best 11 starters in both phases, but as important to make sure your depth is where it needs to be for the long haul, not in weeks 1 through 3 when you get to game 9, game 10, game 11. And so we worked our tail off to do so. Is there a drop-off from starters to who's the number 2? There always is. That's why you have a starter and why you have someone that is the backup. But I'm proud of how our guys have gotten better as the year has gone on, BJ. But going into a game, especially playing the offense we did, down 2 of our starters, we knew that that was something we had to overcome. And guys stepped up, and I'm proud of how they did. And it's going to be something we got to continue to work through as the season goes.
What is Wyoming like this year? You know, they have a new coach. He was on the staff. What are their strengths? What concerns you most about that?
Yeah, Bob. So I was able to obviously knew Jay Savell from afar as a defensive coordinator, think very highly of him as a defensive coach, and then being able to be around him at some of these, Mountain West meetings and stuff. Very impressed with Jay, not only just in his mentality, but how he goes about his business. And so got the utmost respect for him, have the utmost respect for the Wyoming Cowboys. I mean, since I've been here, we played them every year, and it's been just battle after battle after battle against those guys. And we know it's going to be no different Saturday. And regardless what their record is, we know we're going to get their absolute best because they got really good coaches and they got really good players too. That's what I tell our team. I mean, watch Wyoming when they're playing watch Wyoming when they score almost 50 points against New Mexico, who a week later beats Washington State. We're going to watch those games because that's the Wyoming we're going to see. We know they're going to be defensively. I think they're returning 9 starters from a really good defense last year. Their linebacker, number 43, one of the best defensive players in our conference. They're going to be very well coached. They're very sound. They're one of the best defenses on third down. I think they lead our conference in third down defense, so they're going to do a really good job there. They're going to be well coached. Offensively, with a new offensive coordinator, they've really found their identity. They got a redshirt freshman quarterback in Caden Anderson who's really good. He's not only good now, he's going to be really good in the future. They got an NFL tight end. They're always going to be really good up front, and they've got receivers to make it miss. I think they got, 2 really good running backs, which you always feel Wyoming's going to have. They got 2 really good running back. One, number 4, was hurt for a little bit. He's back, playing really well. So, and we know they're going to be very sound on special teams. So in all 3 phases, we're going down to Laramie. Who knows what the weather's going to be? You're playing at elevation, all these things. We know it's going to be a battle. That's how it's always been. Last time we played there in 22, it was a 2-minute drive interception to a fumble in 4 minutes to where they have the ball going in to win the game before overtime. I mean, we know the battles we've had with the Wyoming Cowboys. We have the utmost respect for them, and we know they're going to be ready. Now it's our job as coaches and as players to make sure we work our tail off to play our best on Saturday. And that's the goal every single week and that's what I ask our team. Did we just play our best football? And if the answer is no, why? How can we get it fixed to make sure we play our best football game 11? Because November's the compete month. I mean, you see it across college football. I mean, I know my man BJ Raines is fired up to be a Jayhawk, but crazy stuff happens in November. It's the compete month. And you can't look behind. You can't look too far in front. Stay in the moment. Focus on what you control. Focus on your process because we know we're going to get their best Saturday, and we got to make sure we play ours.
Getting back to the defensive effort against San Jose, how much was that? Almost a kind of Iron Man effort. I mean, 2 or 3 weeks ago, you guys played 34, 36 guys and a little bit of a blowout win. And 9 of your starters played over 83% of the snaps. Your interior guys rotated, but I mean, you largely played that game with about 13, 14 guys on defense.
It was an absolute battle, and you go in knowing from injuries to guys banged up. It is what it is. It's what we got, and it's not just us going through it. I know there's a lot of teams in the country when it's going to game 11. Guys got to step up, and if that means these 11 guys got to be ready to play the entirety of the game, that's what this team needs you to do. And there's guys on our team that play on one special team. That's what we need you to do, though. We need you to play on that one special team to the absolute best. We need you to star in your role. For others, it means we're going to play every single snap on defense or offense. It's a team. It's the greatest team sport on the planet if you continue to focus on those things, and that's what we do. And so if it means we're going to play 12 guys in the entirety of a game, 14 guys, or find ways to rotate guys in because we have the depth and the personnel to do so, we'll do that. But we got to find ways to win these games. We know we're going to get everybody's best. And going into that game, especially how we were attacked, the personnel that we're in, we knew what we had to fight our tail off to do. And we didn't play it perfectly at all times. Like I said, we gave a bunch of yards and some scores that we need to get fixed. There's a lot of good things to clean up on film. but I keep coming back to very proud of how these guys battled and never flinched. And I never want to just highlight the win, because it's not about wins and losses. It's about you growing every week. But I am proud of our guys never flinching and finding a way to win that game, that especially when you don't start the way we did.
In terms of finding, you look at your personnel that you had out there in the exact way that it was out there on defense. How many times have you guys maybe practiced that, before last week, where you had Amarion, in the slot, and Marco now is out there as middle linebacker the whole game without Andrew?
Yep.
And how many times have you guys actually been able to practice with that personnel group out there?
We practice it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Because, that's the reality of college football too, Jay. After a game, you find out who you got, and this is a guy that's going to be available. This is going to be a game time decision. This is going to be doubtful. This is a guy that can't play a whole game because of something he's dealing with. And so, and I'm proud of our coaches in all three phases. Say, hey, guys, this is what we got. Who's our backups? And at this point in the year, there might be one guy that backs up 4 positions. And obviously it takes a special young man to be able to do that, but that's just the reality. You don't have always 22 deep or 22 in total in both sides of the ball. So we practiced last week. Our guys did a good job in practice. Obviously there's some things on film that we need to get fixed, but we put guys in different spots because we had to. And I'm proud of our guys responding.
So just with personnel, 3 different guys on kickoff. Cam Bates has to return, fumbles if Dylan Riley comes in. What's the message to guys in a game when you go, maybe we're going to try someone else or try something different?
Yeah, so good question, and you guys know me well enough now to where if somebody fumbles or makes a mistake, we do not lose confidence in them. We went in that week knowing Cam Bates and Dylan Riley are going to go every other one. And they knew that going in. We're going to go every other one. And just because a mistake happened does not mean we lose confidence in that player. Now, how you practice and how you play directly correlates to how much more reps you're going to get. But one mistake, one misplay, we do not put guys in the tank. I want to encourage them, and we attack success. I don't want them going out, I hope I don't mess up. I hope I don't mess up. I never want any of our players to fear failure. Now, there's repercussions for not playing your best. That will be reps, that will be time. But we went in that game knowing that Cam Bates and Dylan Riley will go every other in regards to kickoff return.
I guess what's the decision behind that as opposed to having just a starter? Yeah. Is it because they're both freshmen, both deserve it? I guess just what's the thought process?
Yeah, both have not completely elevated themselves to be the only guy in those situations. Obviously, there's a lot of positions on our team where there are guys that have elevated themselves to be the starter every time. Those guys are young. They've both done some really good things, but no one has separated themselves to be the full-time kickoff returner yet.
Defense, I know San Jose State obviously has an elite passing attack, but that's been a little bit of an issue at times all year. It seemed like in a lot of those kind of 50-50 jump ball types, I think San Jose came down with 8 of 11 of them.
Felt like they came down with every single one of them, to be honest with you.
Is it a technique thing? Is it just not turning around? Just what are you seeing from some of the DBs?
Yeah, it's a technique thing, and it's something we got to keep working. Obviously, we did last week, and I know that Coach DeMauro Warren, Coach Stockton, they do a phenomenal job with our back end. And that's not just my opinion. I see how it's coached. I see how it's taught. And everybody looks at the end result, which is what we're judged on. We're judged on the yards. We're judged on win-losses. I get that. But I see how our guys are taught now and how the techniques and the intricacy of it. We got to find ways to finish those. We're in position. It's way different to me than if guys are running open, right? That's a lack of schematic. That's a lack of communication. That needs to get fixed. When it's one-on-one 50-50 balls and you come down with the amount they did, it's something we got to look at now. And we talked yesterday, how are we teaching this? Maybe it's a technique that we've liked prior that we need to evolve from, because in college football, you got to find ways to eliminate explosives. We did not do that on Saturday. By the grace of God and our players playing their tail off, we were able to create 4 turnovers. But you can't give up 450 yards passing and be happy. And even if we gave up 150, there'll still be things that we need to look at and grow in, BJ. But we got to find ways to continue to train those 50-50 balls to make sure we can execute more.
In terms of the follow-up on that, in terms of just turning around and making a play on the ball, is that just a split-second decision where they're not making the right decision? Break that down just a little bit further.
Yeah, it's all about time and space with it, Mike, in regards to where I'm at in relation to the receiver and where I'm at in relation to the ball, right? Am I in a winning position? Am I on the top shoulder? Am I on the bottom shoulder? And obviously this is happening in nanoseconds, and And they do a really good job. I mean, they've got a bunch of double moves that they threw at us early. So as a DB, do I drive that hitch or do I wait for the double move? And those some things. And that's offenses across the country. It's something we've seen all year. It's a technique thing. And yes, there's going to be opportunities to look and lean and be able to make a play on the ball. There's going to be times where I got to go through the receiver's hands to make a play on the ball. It's all dependent on where that ball is in relation to the receiver and where that our defender is in relation to the receiver as well. So it's stuff we're going to continue to look at. And we do not leave that game and think we're fine at it because, to your point, BJ, when you give up 8 of 11, whatever it was, that you can't happen. And we got to find ways to play better, and we will. Got to.
Spencer, you said that Maddox had his best game. I think you could argue for sure. Outside of the Cam had an early drop on third down. After that, though, like as a group, was that your best wide receiver effort, especially after the catch? I mean, Cam, Prince, Matt, like all those guys made plays at some point in time after the catch against San Jose State.
Yeah, it was all. I think it was probably the best we've had as a total pass game. And I'm not even just saying look at the yards, just in regards to 10 guys getting the ball, yards after catch, and big-time catches too. I mean, we're talking third and long, contested, on the sideline. Very proud of our receivers. Obviously, like I said, Maddox, I think, played his best game, but our receivers played extremely well. And what happens when you're able to get the ball to a lot of our playmakers, man, they block their tails off too. And they've done that all year long, but that's a testament to those guys. I mean, even Latrell Cables takes a big-time shot on the sideline, and we test him. We go through it all. He's able to come back in the game and have another big play. We had the one drop. Outside of that, I mean, there were some contested big-time catches on third down, and being able to get the ball to 10 receivers or 10 guys make catches is a testament to the depth of that group and a testament to, the entirety of our team that we want to find ways to get our playmakers the ball.
When you watch film of Ahmed's fumble recovery, just how impressed were you with the way, I mean, there were 3 San Jose State guys right there, and he somehow comes away with it.
I would put Ahmed on a scrum any day of the week. I could promise you that. And him finding a way to get that ball, I mean, huge play in the game. Even Jaden Verge the big shot that Ty Benefield had on that quarterback, and Jay find a way to come up with that fumble. I mean, there's just those plays in the game that's how college football swings. And momentum swings because of execution. And Ahmed finding a way to get that ball with 3 San Jose State players around him. That's his mentality. That's who he is. He's also one of the strongest guys probably in the country. And so I'm glad he was the one down there to find it.
Fourth down play where Shea had the tackle on the lineman. I mean, maybe overreacting to say a season-saving tackle, but I mean, just to make that play and in that spot and to recognize that and I know it wasn't 4th and goal, it was 4th and 1 or whatever, but just that spot right there to not let them get any points. How big was that?
Oh, I mean, BJ, at that point just how it led up to that. It's 14-0. We get the ball kicked off to us. We fumble it, right? So you're fighting. I mean, and I'm proud of our guys. Be like, nope, 3-0. Here we go. Put the fire out. Let's go. They drive all the way down to the 2-yard line or whatever it was, and being able to come away with no points, monster play in the game. You never know when those are going to come. Monster play in the game. They go up 21-0. I believe in our team. I believe in us in our place. That's hard, though. And we got to work our tails off to make sure we don't put ourselves in that situation. But that's a testament to our players, BJ. And obviously some of those plays, we never rep that play. I can promise you that. But our guys just having situational awareness, one, making a tackle with only probably a foot to gain, monster play in the game.
Ashton Jeanty, obviously getting a lot of workload. You're trying to win football games. You needed him here. At what point do you also feel like plan B, C, D is the responsibility of keeping him busy, keeping him active, keeping him in the high-profile Heisman race?
Yeah, I mean, we go in every week, Mike, and these are good questions that come up. We go in every week, what does it take for us to win this football game? And if you ask Ashton Jeanty, that's what he cares about too. And if that means giving him 30 or whatever carries, if it means some games 20, we go into a game, okay, what do we need to do to win that game? Because we know we're going to get a defense's best. Yes, we'd love to continue to find ways like we did this weekend to get our receivers the ball more, and they were very explosive. Breezy Dubar back healthy, getting him kind of smart. He had a good catch and run for a first down. Got to get him going more. Tyler Crow had a big run on third down. But Ashton Jeanty's our guy, and we got to continually find ways, yes, to protect him, but we got to do what it takes to win these football games. And so there's a lot that goes into a game, not only prep and practice-wise, Mike, and planning, but even in-game, kind of where we're at, what do we need to do to move the sticks. And if that's giving the ball to Ashton, we're going to give the ball to Ashton. If it's giving the ball to somebody else and creating some different looks that we need to, we'll do that as well.
there still hope that Sire plays this year?
Yeah, he's close. BJ, he's close. He's close. We're hoping to get him back. I know he's relentless to be back. We're getting close with Cy.
Has the 4 game, like trying to preserve the red shirt, played into it at all?
No, right now he's not healthy enough to get back. And I think the world of Sire Gaines, and if he was able to play, obviously because of who he is, we'd have that conversation, but it's strictly due to the injury.
Tyler obviously came in and had that one nice pop, and has been he's been very dependable for you when you needed him so far this year. Off the field, and just the dynamic between Ashton and Tyler. The backgrounds and everything about him is so opposite, but it seems like they really click as kind of as a duo. What do you see from that dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, first off, Tyler Crow, I mean, he's a team guy. He's a glue guy. He loves his team. If it's run the ball, if it's what we ask for him to do on special teams, I mean, he loves his team. That's how he is in the offseason, how he is on the field. He's a leader on our team, not just because he's a senior, but because of how much he cares about his team and he puts it into actions. And no different with his relationship with Ashton. I mean, they love each other. They care about each other. You won't see somebody more excited for Ashton when he has a play than Tyler Crow. And that's a testament to who Ashton is as a person. But then on the flip side, when Tyler Crow had that run on 3rd down to move the chains late in the game, I don't know if you saw somebody more happy than Ashton for Tyler. So it's really cool to see those dynamics. And once again, the love that this group has for each other. There's a lot of, as we've talked about here for half an hour, there's a lot of things on film in all 3 phases we need to get fixed. But this team loves each other, man. And that's something that can be thrown out a lot. And you guys don't see it the way I see it. I see them how they interact. I see them at dinner when people are on their phone and they're loving each other. They're cracking jokes. They're having fun. Like there's a lot of deep connections that these guys will have forever, and that matters to me. Yes, that helps you win football games. It helps you find ways to grit out a win. But these guys are creating moments and creating relationships that they'll have forever. And Tyler Crow and Ashton's a close one.
As you get further into the season, you kind of learn maybe like what the identity of your team is, and at least one of them is your guys' ability to finish.
Yeah.
Ashton Gentry leads the country in a lot of stats, but he has like 200 more fourth-quarter rushing yards than just about any other back out there. You ever been around an offense that has been able to run the ball so effectively in the fourth quarter like you guys have, and what allows you guys to do that, you think?
Yeah, Jay, I mean, and I've been open about this too. We believe in wearing a defense down. That's around the football. It could be in the pass game. We want to consistently be on attack from snap 1 to whenever the clock says 0, and being able to stay in it. But that's easy to say. What's common is you kind of scratch what you went into the game with, right? It's easy. That just doesn't work. The defense is doing something different. We're going to go away from it. Coach Cutter does such a phenomenal job. Yes, making in-game adjustments because you have to, but staying true to our game plan. Stay in it. Stay in the fight. Yeah, it was a 1-yard gain. Stay on it. Stay on it. There's going to be compliments off of this. Stay with it, and you can see it start to wear down a defense, especially when we start getting to the fourth quarter. Obviously, just like everybody, I'd love to be explosive from snap 1, and we have been, but sometimes it takes a little bit to, hey, stay true to our plan, guys. Stay true to our plan. Running the football, passing attack, and being efficient on 1st and 2nd down to make sure we're in some 3rd and manageables, move the chains. And that's a testament, yes, to the plan we put into action from our coaches, but it's also our players. They know that. And we were even talking as a leadership group. Ben Dooley brought it up. He's like, man, I think this is the best we've been at making adjustments and then being able to go out there and execute them. From halftime to on the sideline, we're going to get different looks from a defense every week. To stop the run, to attack our play action pass game. That's happening. And then being able to see those things, adapt, adjust, and then be able to go out there and execute is a testament to our players.
I know you've been hoping for Roger to be able to come back. How close is he especially with Tyler going down, how close is he to?
Yeah, Roger's close too. And we'll see. Hopefully we can get some action from him this week. Sire's close, so little by little. Just got to keep taking it one day at a time, and whenever they're ready and they're cleared, we'll be back rolling with them.
Spencer, how much do you value tackles for DBs? I mean, you got McCoy with 11, Oladipo 9. On one hand, they're doing the job, but if they finish with 2 tackles, I guess it means they're not having to make them. How do you value a defensive stat like that for DBs?
Yeah, good question. Stat line for a defensive back or a defensive backfield, obviously one of the first ones you look at is passing yards and 3rd downs. Those are the 2 big ones in regards to back end. but stats can also not tell you the full story too, because no different. When we get sacks, everybody highlights who got the sack. I think we have two of the best edge guys in the entire country. But what no one sees is there's a lot, that's tight coverage when that ball's not coming out either because of what our DBs are doing. And so in regards to the stat sheet off the game, like Amari McCoy making 11 tackles, I'm fired up for him. Now, some of those tackles were because we gave up a pass and he needed to make the tackle, so it can go in hand. But I am very proud of, and just to highlight Amari on like I did after the game, he played a new position. He had a bunch of different techniques that, yes, he's played, but it's different playing the slot than playing on the outside. You're getting a whole different route tree. And him staying resilient, and even on a couple of those throws that he gave up that he's been able to make plays on this year, he never flinched. And he's an emotional young man that loves his team. And seeing him stay in it and make some of those tackles and stay true to himself, I'm very proud of Amarion. And he's putting together a really good senior campaign. There's still some things on film, like we've talked about, some of the plays that we missed in the backfield that we need to improve on, but I'm proud of him. Even Devon Banks, I mean, he gave up some catches. Absolutely he did. I'm excited for us to grow from that. But a guy that prior to we were able to rotate a lot. I mean, he played dang near almost every snap on defense, played on a bunch of special teams, and obviously had a big pick six late. Don't like the personal foul penalty for the celebration. We will get that fixed as a team, I promise you. But I'm proud of him being relentless too. So there's going to be a lot of things that technically and fundamentally we need to fix in our back end. Schematically, there's some things that watching the game now, going into it, we're going to have to clean up. But I'm proud of our guys staying the fight. And when Amari McCoy makes 11 tackles in the game, I'm proud of him finding a way to get those guys on the ground. Thanks, fellas. Have a good rest of your day.
Tyler, good? Good to go. Questions? Go ahead.
Madsen, coach. 9 receivers caught passes, 73%, no turnovers. I mean, your evaluation after you watch the film and whatnot, what stood out to you about the
Actually,
quarterback?
10 receivers caught passes because the stats got screwed up and didn't give Wagner a catch on that one. They gave it to Louder. Would I give you guys bad information? Yeah, Mad Dog played really good. He did a really nice job in the game. You know, he had a good feel for when to let it go, when to scramble, made really good decisions, took care of the football. Again, 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That 6-to-1 ratio is hard. It's hard to get that for a lot of QBs, especially young QBs. And yeah, just good decision maker and put the ball on the money. Did a nice job.
How much does he find a kind of a balance of when to use his legs and obviously step back and throw, but like he seems to be finding a really nice balance when to attack with his legs.
Well, your feet should be telling you, right? Your feet should be telling you. It's all tied into your footwork, and you know, your feet when you get past that second hitch in the pocket. Usually, that's telling you it's time to go.
He seems to be believing that though. Like that's probably kind of an instinctual thing, but that just comes with, you know, finally playing into your 10th game of the year and stuff.
I think some guys never get that. It's one of the hardest things to get, and then, you know, most quarterbacks don't like getting hit, so they find a way to get rid of it, either to find their check down or to throw it away, which that's not a bad option either. That beats the sack, fumble, or the interception for sure.
What do you think of this tough little goal line run there? I mean, he probably didn't have a face mask on that thing.
Yeah, we actually turned that play in as a possible face mask. Haven't heard back yet. You know, that was the one quarterback designed run that we called in this game. It was his own read, and they didn't give us exactly the look. It was kind of a gray area. So again, most guys probably would have handed that off, but Mad Dog thought he could get it in, and he did a nice job doing that.
Spencer said your guys hopefully might get Roger back this week, you know, especially after losing another offensive lineman last week. How nice will it be to finally be getting one back?
Well, that's not a for sure thing by any means. So, and you know, Roger's been out for quite some time, so we'll have to see. But that's four old linemen that we've lost this year, and that's hard to overcome. I mean, that's a testament to those guys who have stepped into those shoes. But we're pretty thin. We can't continue down this road for much longer.
For your wide receivers, is this the best collective effort from that group, especially after the catch, maybe?
Well, when we were in here last week, we talked about that we needed to get them more involved, and we did. So that, I think, when those guys get involved early, that motivates them to continue to do the things they're doing there, and those guys work very, very hard. As we've gone along here this season, obviously teams have become more and more focused on stopping Ash, and that's what they should be doing. But our wideouts are plenty capable enough. We're just a run first team, and they don't always get as many opportunities as maybe some other guys. But they collectively that was our best of the season. We had 9 explosive passes, which is definitely our high for the year.
I know you want to obviously score every time you have the ball, but after the defense gives you a turnover and you get the ball with a takeaway, you know, I think 3 times you turn that into touchdowns in that game against San Jose. I mean, how important is that, and does that swing a game, I guess, when you can take advantage of that and turn something into points?
Well, turnovers for sure swing the game. So, you know, we didn't have very many possessions in the game. I think we only had 7 possessions, 5 touchdowns and 2 missed field goals. So, you know, other than that first 3 and out, which we have not been a slow start team, but that was a horrendous start. But other than that, we moved the ball good. But the turnover thing, if you're not turning it over and you get 4 of them, you're going to win most of the time.
How nice was that catch by Latrell on the sideline, and that throw by Maddox was pretty tremendous too, to get after the 4th down stop or whatever.
Yeah, that was you know, when you get the ball backed up like that, you're just, first of all, you're trying to get it out of there so you make a first down or 2 so you have room to punt if you can at least flip the field. And we actually ran the same play. That was exactly the same play that we ran on fourth down when the game was tied, going the other way in the fourth quarter, when he threw it to Camper going to his left on the flat. It was the exact same play going to the right. Probably should have thrown it to Camper right off the bat, and he waited, and then, he threw it to a good spot, and that was a heck of a catch by Latrell.
How about on that play to Cam, too? I mean, he made it look so easy over the shoulder like that. That's fourth down, and if you don't catch that ball and get the first down, who knows what happens?
Yeah, well, that's Coach D made the call to go, and that was a huge part in the game. And you saw the next play after that, Ashton took it to the house. So, yeah, that's the way these games go.
Derek, in terms of sticking with the run at times when it's the early stages where you're trying to break it, and then finally you do kind of wear a defense down. Can you sense when that's about to happen? Especially, it can't be fun to try to tackle 5'9", 215 and squat 700 too many times. And by the 25th, 30th carry, I would assume that starts to kind of wear on a defense.
It definitely does, and it is hard to judge, but Coach Potter's sitting up there beside me, and he and Coach Keene are on the headsets making adjustments constantly through the game, how we change the splits of our wideouts and how we're trying to get to where they have their extra, they always got one more than us, so where their extra guy is, how can we get to that extra guy? Is it moving the back alignment? Is it tightening the splits? There's all kinds of little adjustments being made. If the best run teams, they run the ball a lot and they repeat runs. Okay, the line likes it when they repeat runs. The running back likes it when they repeat runs. And the body blows early in the game usually leads to some kind of a better outcome later in the game. But it's been around football for a long time. Just a lot of people have gone away from it, and it's not in vogue right now. It is. But it's the way we're built. It's the best way for us to win. So that's what we do.
How satisfying is that then in the fourth quarter when that especially, you guys are one of the most effective fourth quarter running teams in the country this year. I think Ashton's got like almost 200 more rushing yards in the fourth quarter than anybody else.
Well, it's satisfying to have more points than them at the end of the game. That's the satisfying thing.
The left side of your line to have, two guys like that have been in there as much as they have and played at all Mountain West type levels. How much of a luxury has that been?
Well, it's been huge because of the other three spots have been, heavy rotation and losing a lot of good guys. So having the stability with those two and, the fact that they're such good players and such good leaders on top of that. There was a play in that game, I think it was in the second or third drive. It was in the first quarter, where Ben had gone to his knees, and that dude is so strong. He was on his knees, and he was trying to torque a guy out of the hole while he was on his knees. Like, my back hurt just watching that on film. And, that's just the kind of effort those guys give.
You ever seen Cam Camper celebrate?
I've seen him smile a few times. He's a pretty steady performer, but yeah, I've seen him smile a few times.
For a college kid, he just doesn't really have I don't want to say he doesn't have flair to his game, but he just seems like he's ready he makes a play and he wants to go make another play, and there's really not much, prayer in between for him for that matter.
Well, him and Latrell are both pretty serious characters about their craft, and I like those kind of guys, but that. Yeah, I don't know. You have to talk to him about that.
I know we've asked you about Tyler Crow in the past, but it just seems like anytime you give him a shot, he makes something happen. It's a pretty big run there he had on third down.
Yeah, that was a really big run, and I got to admit, we were thinking about changing the play when Ashton went out. We were thinking about changing it, and he came right up to me. T. Crow came right up to me after the game, and that guy. We said this before. He's the kind of guy that this program was built on, and you need a ton of guys like that in your program. He does anything and he does everything, and you need guys like that.
You've been on championship teams, done this for so long. What does this team have that what do you see in them that might allow them to actually finish this thing here and do something that no Boise State team's ever done.
Yeah, I'll go back to, the things that Coach D talks to these guys about every day. He preaches to these guys about staying in the fight, playing the next play, sticking together, having each other's back, and these guys do a good job of that. I'm not on the sideline, but all the coaches said that we were in danger of going down 21-0, and our coaches on the sideline said that the players were great on the field about continuing to play. That was about as bad a start as you can have in a game. And, those guys did a good job hanging in there. So, part of it's the older guys that have been here, the tradition that's here. But, I think it all starts with Coach Danielson and, the way he handles the team. And he meets with the leadership group all the time. And, he's grown the leaders on this team. And, new leadership continues to emerge as the season goes on, and those guys are doing a good job. All right.
Thanks.
See you guys.
That fourth down stop that Shea made, when they're about to make it 21-0 there, just how big was that play, obviously, and swinging the game?
Yeah, I think, that probably I had confidence in our guys anyways. They were great on the sideline. They were great when I got them on the headphones, but that probably got the ball rolling for us to, turn the game around. And anytime you get a fourth down stop in any football game, that's huge. But I think that one was particularly important.
The start was obviously a little bit less than ideal, as everybody's kind of said here so far, Eric. But with what you guys were trying to do on defense and the personnel you had to throw out there and figure out, Spencer was saying you guys basically practiced that first time last week with that exact group out there. So does it take a few snaps or a few series to figure it out? Hopefully not, but does it, you typically?
Yeah, I kind of saw in the first series that, it didn't quite look like practice. Some guys probably weren't 100% confident in their new jobs, and take full ownership of that. Asked a lot of guys to move different positions, guys we thought we could get in the best positions possible to defend some of the things that they were doing. Ask them to probably not only play some new positions, but execute some techniques that they hadn't done just because of being at other positions. It was probably a lot on those guys, to be quite honest with you. Probably could have put them in a little better position at the beginning of the football game, but I think they settled down and they started playing a little better, after the first couple series.
How did that change? It seems like you guys maybe backed off pressure a little bit, but I'm not, were they able to kind of figure it out in the game, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know if we backed off the pressure because of that. We backed off the pressure a little bit because they had a good plan. Their quarterback was doing a good job getting the ball out. It's hard to bring pressure when the guy's getting – it's like pressure in Tom Brady, right? You just don't get there very often. But I think that, the coaches on the sideline did a good job of settling those guys down, showing them the iPads, hey, guys, this is the things we practiced. Here's what's happening. You're out of leverage. We need to get our feet in the ground. The disguise is not as important as getting your feet in the ground and getting your eyes where they're supposed to be. So let's just do the little things better as we move forward. I think that helped things a lot.
3 straight weeks you guys have now forced multiple turnovers in the game, just, especially after earlier in the season we're questioning, when are these turnovers, when are these interceptions going to come? How nice has it been seeing the defense start to get those?
That's great. You win the turnover battle. I'm not a huge stats guy, but, winning the turnover battle time tested. That's a huge indicator on winning or losing a football game. And then obviously having a rough start and giving up some yards early, having some of those turnovers, that it kind of covers up a lot of rough spots when you can get the ball turned over. So huge for that. I think the guys are very conscious of being more ball aware in the last few games than they had been in the previous couple. So happy for those guys, happy for the team that we got some turnovers and got the ball back to a very explosive offense that we have.
How impressed were you with kind of the way Ty just kind of forced plays to happen? Was it just kind of right place, right time, or what's his instincts like to get there?
No, I mean, talking with Ty in the last couple of weeks, and he said that he had, talked to his dad and some other people, and we all said the same thing to him. You look like you're a little mechanical out there. You look like you're afraid to make a mistake. Let's just go cut this thing loose and let's go start playing football and make some things happen. And I think he did. I think he reverted back to his natural playmaking ability instead of trying to force himself to be 100% right on every play. And he was in position to make that interception. He was in position to knock that football loose, and thought he played a great football game.
What do you see from the pass defense in terms of some of the 50-50 type balls? I mean, I think San Jose came down with 8 of 11 contested balls. Is it just technique? Is it guys not turning around? Just them making great catches? What are you seeing?
No, I think it's a little bit of all of the above. First and foremost, they have 2 really good receivers. Those guys are going to get some catches. I think on our part, playing corner, it's the dang scariest thing in the world, especially when you get beat on a ball. And every corner that's ever played football since the history of this game started has got beat on a deep ball. But it's hard to flush. It's hard to move on to the next one. And then you start doing things maybe just a touch out of your technique, just a touch out of your leverage. And once that happens, then it's hard to win those balls. So we just had to get those guys on the headphones. I think Demo did a great job with those guys. I got them both on the headphones and just telling them, we trust you, we love you. Play your leverage, play your technique, and good things are going to happen. And as the game moved on, they started to get back into their technique. There was the time frame in the middle there where they were in really good position, and they just didn't make the play. But them executing the technique that they did in practice just a little bit better, and they make those plays because when you're in position like that, like those 50-50 balls, they call them for a reason, but you got to win 50% of them.
It's maybe a dumb question, but just it sometimes looks like the guys aren't even turning around to look for the ball. What's the proper obviously you got to stay on your guy. You don't want to look back too early and lose that guy. But when are they? How do they know when to look back? When are they supposed to look back?
There's a lot that goes into that, but the oldest adage in football is if you're close enough to touch your man, you're in phase. When he looks, you need to look, and the jump timing is a big piece of that too. A lot of times when the receiver is able to go up first, it's hard on the defender. If you're out of phase, can't touch your man, I can't turn around, I got to go play through the pocket. And those are things that just constantly, and it's hard to drill because you don't have real quarterbacks. It's me or it's somebody else throwing the football. But those things we probably need to drill a little bit more.
Last week like for Marco, and I asked Spencer, it's not like he was going from 0 to 100, but he was probably going from about 55 to 100 with what you guys asked him to do. He played every snap, wore the green dot. What was kind of the build up to last week like for him? And I assume he's probably a fun guy for you to work with too.
Yeah, Marco's awesome. He's very able to flip the switch, walking around the building. He's got a great sense of humor. He likes to joke. He likes to have a good time. You get on that field with him, you better know the answer. Like, he's going to ask questions that nobody else is going to ask, and you better have the answer or he's going to look at you crazy. So he's very prepared. He's very detailed. Asking him to play a lot more snaps than he has, I thought was going to be no issue. Obviously, people get tired during the game, so the issue was, who's going to be next in, and somebody's going to have to double rep at certain positions. But I thought Marco handled it well. I thought he played a really good football game. Really proud of him. I mean, he's a great football player.
Kind of overall, that was about as close to Ironman football you probably get at this level. I mean, you really played about 13 or 14 guys where most of your starters played over 83-ish% of the snaps. I mean, Jaden's out there, 66 snaps at 54 pass dropbacks. How wild was that effort, I guess, out of those guys to be able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we're in November. It's just, it's some of the things, like a couple of decisions that I made in the game plan, and I own that. Moving those guys around probably didn't put them in the best situation, but we have a lot of injuries, and that's not an excuse because everybody in the country has injuries. But finding a way to win when you're down players, when you have to do something different, like winning is hard. And learning how to win is very hard. And these kids embrace that, and they want to do what it takes. And not to mention the fact they played a lot on defense, but Amarion, Jeremiah, Banks, Shea, Rod, Marco, those guys are all on multiple special teams too. So a lot of football for those guys. But if you're going to go win in November, those are the guys you want on the field.
That's it. I mean, to have two of the better players in the defensive players in the league, out in Tubner and Simpson. I mean, what does that say about your unit that you could pick up for those guys?
I mean, it's like we said. I mean, I'm super proud of those guys. Proud of Tubes and Andrew for coaching the way that they did this past week, to try to get their next man up ready. Talked to those guys before the game. They said, "Coach, don't worry, we're gonna be fine." And Tubes kind of called it. He said, "Hey, we just got to make sure everybody that's in their new position is settled down early, and once they get into the rhythm, we'll be just fine." He's like, "But I believe in these guys," and like finding a way. I think good teams find a way to win. Sometimes it's real pretty, and sometimes it's real ugly, but good teams find a way to win. And I was just happy for these guys to finish that game the way they did.
As much as you can say, like, do you enjoy it? I mean, I don't know if enjoy is probably the right way to phrase it, but I mean, at the beginning of the week, do you just say, like, hey, these are the guys we got. How do we draw this out?
Yeah, I mean, and Coach D talks about it all the time. It's we got who we got. And we might have guys hurt. We might have full-strength guys, but let's coach these guys up, make them better. And then at the beginning of the week, just like we talked about, like we had on paper, looked awesome, right? But my job also is to make sure that we can execute as well as we can. And there was probably a very fine line of guys moving positions and executing new techniques that was probably got pushed a little too far. But we're going to have to do it all over again this week, and we're playing a whole new team that's got different personnel groupings, so it's going to be fun again this week.
With Marco playing all the snaps, I mean, maybe Andrew's back this week, maybe he's not, but I mean, if he's not, do you want him to play as many snaps as he did, or do you want more get the younger guys like Clay Martineau and Jake Ripp more involved?
Yeah, I think, just like we talked about, at the end of this year, as important as these games are, we know we're getting everybody's best shot. I hope Drew's ready to roll here at the end of the week. I hope Tubes is ready to roll at the end of the week. If not, we obviously want Marco to play a lot of snaps, but also have a high amount of trust in those guys that have been grinding as their backups and waiting for their turn. So, if he's going to have to play for multiple weeks in a primetime role on special teams and defense, and some of those young guys are going to have to get some reps as well.
What do you see from Wyoming?
Obviously it's going to be defend the run. They've done a nice job running mid-zone. They got some counter schemes. They've been more power in the past, but they've got some counter schemes involved in there. They do an interesting amount of fly motions, building bunches in a untraditional way, some of those behind the line of scrimmage bunches. So they give you some difficulty formation-wise and some motion-wise. Got a couple young receivers with some juice. I know their running back was back last week, and when he's full strength, he's a real guy. But they're a good football team, and they've gotten better every week.
With the Marion, maybe in just kind of layman's terms, why he lined up in the slot a handful of times prior to last week, and he almost did it exclusively against Nash. Why is that such a challenge, I guess, when you don't have the help of the sideline or whatever it might be? Like, why is that more challenging?
It's honestly two different positions. It's like playing outside backer compared to inside backer, and the way that I've always thought of it is some people, the skill level, Marion's got the skill level to do it. Some people, it's no issue. I think if it was only man coverage, it would have been a different deal. But some people see the game better inside out, and some people see the game better head on. And a lot of times when your eyes are trained one way or another, it's hard to do it the other way. And then there's just when you're out there on the island, you know where your leverage is at, like, instantaneously. When you're inside, those leverage change between calls, between where your other people are at, those splits, how far is he between 1 and 2, how far is he between the line of scrimmage and the hash. So there's a lot that goes on moving inside. So thankful for Amarion. He played a big part in helping us get lined up this week. And Amarion, just to be honest, like, he wants to be on the best receiver all the time. And this was kind of the game where it's like, okay, you know, we're down a little bit with some guys being injured. Let's roll.
So in terms of a lead up to a game for him, like, I'm sure he's practiced there before, but probably not preparing to play 58 snaps in the slot, you know? So, like, does he have to, is it more time in the film room, more time at practice? Like, how does he get ready to go? Does it require more of him to get ready for something like that?
Yeah, I definitely think it was not as much film study. Like, normally he's specifically scouting the guys that he's lining up against, what's their split, all those kind of things. It's more for him now. It's more walking through with the coaches, working with the nickels and the safeties, just seeing all those routes disperse from inside out instead of being out there by yourself. So it was a lot more prep. Probably not a lot more is probably not a good word. Equal amount of prep, just different prep for him.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Thanks, guys.